Welcome everyone to Solomon's Crown. Back at it again with another review video. And this time around, we are doing a review video on a popular YouTuber that does a lot of exposés on fraud and scams and stuff. Spencer Cornelia. So this topic that we're going to review right now is even NFL stars are committing fraud in 2022. So let's dive right into the video.
But before we do that, we definitely would appreciate it if you sub to the channel, hit the sub button, hit the bell notification if you want to be annoyed by all the videos that we drop, because it will send it straight to your email and you'll know when we post a new video. But on a brighter side, you'll be up to date on all the videos. So whenever we talk about something in the next video, you know what we're referencing to. So we'll give you about 10 seconds to do that. All right, let's get into this video.
This former NFL star has a history of leaked text messages, and this week, another one was released. Brett Favre, Hall of Fame quarterback, isn't a fake guru, but it's alleged he was a participant in a massive fraud scheme. This is a guy who made $137 million in salary alone while playing in the NFL. He's also had national sponsorships, which could have easily put his total income around $200 million total over his lifetime. Why is Brett Favre in the news again at the age of 52? Because incriminating text messages were presented in court the other day. Back in May, this NPR article titled "Mississippi Sues Brett Favre and Three Wrestlers Over Welfare Misspending" was released. A wealthy former NFL star who's a hero in the state of Mississippi, stealing from government funds that were supposed to go to the state's poverty-stricken residents, has created a media firestorm in the sports world.
Well, my first reaction is that Brett Favre looks sleazy as hell. This is one of the more egregious things that you could possibly fathom.
In April, mother-son pled guilty in Mississippi welfare misspending. This is Nancy New, who ran a private education company in Mississippi along with her son Zachary. A lawsuit followed alleging the defendant squandered more than $20 million in money from a government anti-poverty program. Their education company definitely taught the residents of Mississippi how to get rich and commit fraud.
In court documents and audit reports, the state alleges that the head of Mississippi's welfare agency squandered more than $70 million intended for children in poverty.
Nancy and Zachary agreed to testify against others in what state auditor Shad White has called Mississippi's largest public corruption.
So the worst part about this is like these people could get away with this shit if they didn't try to steal like all the money, bro. Like it's just like, bro, we got $70 million. Like, yo, let's just take all of it, bro. Like,
They took these kids to the next level, bro. Like,
that's wild because like low key, they could have took $2 million a piece
and we go with it
and invested it and slowly gain the money over time, so nobody would ever look into this. And they just said $70 million, bro, because
I need that.
Greed, bro. Like greed. Like think smarter, not harder. Like,
I mean,
what makes you think that $70 million? Oh, chill. I don't know if you've seen like the struggle out here, like, but even Brett Favre, bro, it's like, how down bad were you?
He's not down bad. He's just greedy. It's the point of them, period.
I mean, is that what that's what we're coming to? Is like people who make millions of dollars just stealing from the poor. Richer.
Yeah, they don't
reverse
care.
Robin Hood, bro. We
hood
steal
Robin,
from the
bro.
poor.
The hood Robin.
Real though. I mean, but that's the thing is like nothing's gonna happen to Brett Favre. Probably they'll probably be like, you're gonna be on 6-month probation. While Michael Vick spent 5 years in prison for dogfighting.
Yeah. He wasn't even dogfighting, allegedly. He just had the fights on his property. Not saying that it's right at all, but I mean, dogfighting, stealing 70 million from poor people. I don't know.
That's the part. He was stealing from poor people, so poor people
they don't matter.
Not in America, bro. Like, if you're poor in America, you might as well not even have rights. At this point, like, because like none of them poor people can hire lawyers. None of them know how to read, as they would say. None of them know how the laws work because they keep breaking them and making America worse. And rich people, I mean, people like this steal money and do what? What are you doing with $70 million?
Buying yachts and going on trips and buying property and shit like that,
But
expensive
then
cars.
we complain about inflation and we complain why the government wants to tax the rich because it's people like this who have the millions of dollars who've been stealing it and doing all this stuff who are messing it up for the other rich people. So it's like, I mean, Elon Musk supposedly is paying his taxes. Bezos is dodging taxes because he's in multiple different countries, but that's a whole nother story. But it's like, low key, these rich people are like, well, that's not really my problem because you guys can't even handle things at the lowest level as far as corruption goes, as far as like finding out where all this non-tax money is going, like, and then you're trying to be like, oh, rich people are the scapegoat. So they got money, so let's just take their money. And then the poor people who are on welfare and like scamming the government on unemployment and all this other stuff. Like more people who didn't have jobs made more money during COVID than people with actual jobs.
Yeah, I heard that a lot.
Like unemployment and disability and all that stuff during COVID literally put people with like $10,000 extra in their pockets.
It's like low key in the States more often than not, you're rewarded for being crooked.
Yeah.
Like if you're just a dude trying to make ends meet, just trying to be like a good citizen or whatever, you just get taken advantage of, to be honest.
Yo,
And
capitalism is about
Mississippi's, yeah,
it's
it's
about
survival
stealing
of the
from the
fittest,
rich
bro.
and giving to the or stealing from the poor and giving to the rich, or making the rich richer by stealing from the poor. Because if you think about it, like the poor people, there's a lot of poor people who don't know like that if you zero somebody some money that they're gonna not just take $10,000 out of your account and bankrupt you and all this other stuff. But that's not why we're here. We'll keep on going.
Corruption case in the past 2 decades. A mother and son screwing their former partner is very fitting for Mississippi, considering it aligns perfectly with the state's adult video search trends. This is Ted Tobias Sr., another defendant in the lawsuit. Ted Tobias Sr. was known as the $1 Million Man while wrestling. He is a Christian evangelist and motivational speaker, and he ran Heart of David Ministries, Inc., which received $1.7 million in welfare grant money in 2017 and 2018 for mentorship, marketing, and other services, according to the lawsuit. A religious evangelist involved in fraud? You cannot convince me that's true. They have the highest moral fiber in society. They were hand-selected by a mysterious man to uphold the highest standard of the law. Just kidding. I was as shocked to see this as I was when Leo DiCaprio came out as being straight. This is Shad White, the state auditor of Mississippi. White last year demanded repayment of $77 million of misspent welfare funds from several people and groups, including $1.1 million paid to Favre, who lives in Mississippi. It's alleged, by me, that Favre took money from the state because he's still upset that he can't spell Mississippi. If you need proof, he even spelled his last name incorrectly. Brett Favre was allegedly paid $1.1 million for speeches from the welfare fund. If a coach wanted Brett to teach his young quarterbacks how to split a cover 4 defense by audibling the X and Z receivers to a corner and slant route, then he's the guy to give a speech. But what is Favre going to talk about for $1 million? It turns out, he never even had to show up. White said Favre was paid for speeches but did not show up. Favre has repaid the money, but White said in October that Favre still owed $228,000 in interest. He's trying to play innocent and the good guy who returned the money because he claims he didn't know the source of the funds. Dude, if you got paid over $1 million to give speeches and you never gave a speech over a 5-year period, you aren't fooling me. The other day, I did not receive an email from Brett Favre asking for me to invest in a volleyball facility, but an email did notify me that my personal information was removed from another data broker. I know this from having an account with today's sponsor, Aura, who protects my data from hackers, scammers, and spammers. No one wants their personal information exposed, which is why you should consider Aura's protective features. Aura continuously monitors the dark web, looking for your emails, passwords, and social security number.
Tens of millions of dollars on items like hiring retired pro wrestlers, first-class air travel, a horse ranch, and $5 million to build this women's volleyball facility at the University of Southern Mississippi.
Many people are involved in this scheme, but a big reason why this story has reached national news so quickly is because of Brett Favre's participation in allegedly using welfare money to fund the volleyball facility. This is a dude who has made upwards of $200 million collectively throughout his career, and he was using welfare money to fund a self-interest project? Text messages entered Monday into the state's ongoing civil lawsuit over the welfare scandal reveal that former Governor Phil Bryant pushed to make NFL legend Brett Favre's volleyball idea a reality. Through text messages found by Mississippi Today's reporting, the project's plans began in 2017. Favre and the various participants schemed up a plan to distribute funds in such a way that the state likely wouldn't find out and the volleyball facility could be funded with money that should have been used for welfare. For those not aware, Mississippi is the poorest U.S. state with 18.8% of its residents living in poverty. Needless to say, the $77 million allegedly defrauded in this scheme could have been put to a little better use by providing its residents with clean water and a decent lifestyle.
How is Brett Favre getting money that's supposed to get kids out of poverty?
It's a mystery to us. Here we had tens of millions of dollars sent by the country to do the thing that we need done the most, and it was squandered.
Favre claimed his innocence throughout all of the media reports, but the text messages recently brought to the public indicate a different story. This is a text exchange between Favre and Nancy New, where Favre asks if money paid and the amount from New would ever be exposed by the media. Nancy then mentions that Governor Bryant is on board with their scheme, which provided Favre a level of excitement last felt around NFL locker room reporters. This is a text sent from Governor Bryant indicating that he wanted to help Favre with the funding for the volleyball project. The main issue is the welfare program called Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, TANF, prohibits the use of funds for brick or mortar or the construction of buildings. Favre's daughter played volleyball at the University of Southern Mississippi, which many speculate is why he wanted the improved facilities. For a guy who's made hundreds of millions of dollars, $5 million is not that much money. Going through all of these illegal loopholes to commit fraud just to build a new volleyball facility that you can personally afford has got to be one of the best news stories for the subreddit A Boring Dystopia. Temporary Assistance for Needy Families is the name of the welfare program. Just reading the name alone makes you not want to use the funds for a volleyball facility. He's treating the funds like a buffet. I'll take a little from the Needy Family Funds, a little from the Veterans Fund, and a little from the Emergency Food Assistance Fund for my fake speeches. Favre first asked for funding from Mississippi Department of Human Services during a July 24, 2017 meeting at USM. Whenever the story reads, the parties had to craft an agreement that would look to satisfy federal law and give the illusion they were helping needy families, you know you're in the wrong. This is a state so poor that their residents had to await news stories like this one to drink from the tap again. This attorney, Brad Piggott, who originally represented the state's welfare department in the civil suit, stated the $5 million agreement between the new nonprofit and the athletic foundation a sham, fraudulent so-called lease agreement, and was then fired. Keep in mind that the firm providing the funds to this project is supposed to be a non-profit. They paid $1.1 million to Favre to build the stadium in exchange for some speeches that never happened. $1 million speeches sounds like at least one person was profiting from this. The Favre story doesn't end here though. This is the logo for Prevacus, a biomedical startup aimed at treating concussions.
Bruh.
Wow, dude.
And it's not even like I have like a personal bias because I have family in Mississippi, but like, bro, these are
He's a piece
people,
of shit. He's a piece of all pieces of shit. Period.
like, they don't care about poor people, like in general, like because this is what America was built on, low key.
I mean, profitability and capitalism.
Brett
I'm not
Favre
saying
literally just
capitalism of
gets
itself
thrown
is
out the
bad,
fucking. But like the thing is like, first off, like, why do they still have text messages talking about all this stuff? So are the text messages fabricated? Is it something that is being like manipulated
I
to
don't
be
know.
like, but like that's my first thing is like you did this how long ago? And you still have text messages like resonating, like just chilling.
Yeah, because when you're at the top, you kind of lose the sense of you feel superior, like you're undefeatable. Because they've been scamming for years, it seems.
Yeah, and nothing should have ever like went wrong. But of course, like with the new age that we're living in, everybody's looking to become that next big thing. So of course, lawyers, reporters, investigators are going to be doing their due diligence to find the juiciest story. But it's like for people who are so smart, who con the system for so long, it's like, how do you get caught like this? And then it's like, why? Like for a volleyball court, like
Because they want to use other people's money, not their own. And they want to make some money off the top.
they literally like could have built schools They literally could have made their because the thing that these people don't get is like the more poor people that you have, the more money that your state is not going to make. If you take people and give them the opportunity to do better, and it's because of you, they will literally give back to you tenfold in the years to come. But of course, nobody has patience and things like that. Like everything that I
Need it
do,
now.
everything that I did was based off of like my teachers, the people who raised me, and me just being like, okay, I want to do better. And I was always given the opportunity to do better. So I have this like inner goal to like still give back to the community that I came from because they were the ones that raised me up. So I don't know, man. Like we're getting it like, and the thing is like this is going on, like we've seen it in being in the military, like all the things that are going on around the world. So this is like minor compared to like what's going on in like Africa and China and all these other places. Like, so let's just finish this video off. This shit's disgusting.
Favre told Governor Bryant that New had started funneling public funding to the drug company shortly after he began advocating on its behalf. The former governor didn't accept stock while in office, but magically did so 2 days after his term was up. There's belief that as much as $2.15 million of welfare money was sent from Nancy New's office to Privacus. Favre was an early investor in Privacus, but eventually wanted to raise more funds to get the product to market, which meant taking money that should have been used in welfare programs. Here's the best way to map out the overall scheme. John Davis ran the Mississippi Department of Human Services. His funding was mostly from a federal program called Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, or TANF. He sent funds to Nancy New, who was the founder of the nonprofit Mississippi Community Education Center. Her anti-poverty program was called Families First for Mississippi. Mississippi Today wrote the agency gave New more than $60 million in contracts. Independent auditors found that New's nonprofit blew at least $12.2 million and have been unable to trace an additional $40 million that it spent. At least $1.1 million was sent to Favre for fake speeches, and Favre influenced her to send $5 million to the Southern Miss Athletic Foundation for the stadium. Favre later introduced Davis and New to Jake Van Landingham, founder of Privacus. They all agreed to direct New's funding to Privacus. My interpretation was that Favre and others were using public welfare funds as startup capital and would retain ownership, aka hopefully getting rich by using welfare money. Eventually, Governor Bryant joined in on the scheme, but his involvement isn't exactly clear. Someone making $50,000 a year in the state of Mississippi, a median level income, would need to work 2,740 years to make the money Bret did from his NFL salary alone. Once Bret's CTE begins really taking over his brain, he's going to find out how much we all rely on our support system for helping us stay alive. Then he'll finally realize how bad this entire fraud scheme looks to others. Great job by Anna Wolf and Mississippi Today for their excellent research on this topic. Thanks for watching.
I mean, people are getting smarter, bro. Like, people are tired of getting fucked over, so of course they're gonna start exposing shit.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
that's crazy. That's completely like disgusting.
Bro, and they really made fake organizations. And the thing is like, okay, of course nobody was gonna look into it until like now. Everybody's just like, yo, how have we been getting funding for this program and nothing has changed?
But that's how it's always been done. Rich people, they get these foundations and stuff where they put their money in, can't be taxed on a regular level as regular income, and it can either like donate the foundation to someone that can give them favors in the form of money or some other way, political support, like making up a business deal or whatever. That's what they do all the time. Fake companies, shell companies, foundations, they can launder their money to.
Yeah,
Doesn't change.
we already know about all that shit, so from personal experiences. So I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, what does everybody else think? I mean, I've said enough on this. There's not really much else you can say.
He's a piece of shit, pretty much. Like, I think he was also the right complexion as well.
I mean, we already know because like they got the Bucks. What is it? The Bucks coach who's getting drugged for having an affair on Nia Long, and everybody's just like,
we'll cover that topic.
Yeah, but everybody's like dragging this man, and it's just like, bro,
she's 55. You know what? We'll talk about it next time.
Yeah, we'll bring that up. But until next time, peace.
Peace out.